Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There are various important crises in Europe for these 10 years, but I only stick to the Brexit in order to concentrate argument more closely. Because Brexit is very important for Japan because there are about 6,000 companies, Japanese companies operating in Europe. Literally more than 1,000 is in UK. But as far as number is concerned, Germany has on the top of the table, and UK is second. But half of Japanese investment in Europe concentrated in UK. So the impact of the Brexit for Japanese companies operating in Europe is quite large, I should say. But before the referendum in June 2016, there had been optimistic forecasts in Japan. Government, foreign ministry, Ministry of International Trade, all things that, common sense will prevail and Britain will remain. But, as you know, result was opposite. So we have to cope with it. And at that year, 2016, Japan held the presidency of so-called G7 summits on some leaders and also foreign ministers meetings or finance ministers meetings. So there are a lot of statements were issued by Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, Minister of Finance, and also Bank of Japan, and so on. So, but problem is, especially important for Japan. So Prime Minister Abe formed the special Brexit task force in order to follow the events and also push the Japanese view and interest towards this future negotiations. And one of the things is very strong words. Let's say, for instance, Japan's message to the UK, not only to the UK, but the European Union, which was sent on September 2nd, 2016. We'll be sending a strong message by reaching agreements in principle on Japan, EU, EPC within this year. That's what, under the negotiation, Japan, the EU. Uncertainty is a major concern for economy. We hope that predictability is secured, whereby all stakeholders, not just the negotiating partners, but have a clear idea of post-Brexit landscape. This is possible if the Brexit negotiations are conducted through an uninterpreted and transparent process, which could include the arrangements such as establishment of provisional period or so on. So, and there's a list of, like a shopping list of the Japanese concern on this Brexit negotiation to come. Okay? But as you know, these negotiations formally started March last year, and that process seems to us is very slow, and British position is not so clear, and we've been trying to push Britain to have more clear idea on how the future negotiation will be. Prime Minister May came to Japan last summer, end of August, early September, before China, in order to persuade Japanese government and people, especially business people, to stay in UK and invest more to UK rather than moving their facilities to the continent. That's the message. On various occasions, she has been pushing and telling and trying to persuade people and Japanese enterprise to remain in the UK. And even early this year, about this transitional period issue, it was a letter was sent from the Chancellor and the other related ministers from UK to business world in general. But Prime Minister May invited prominent Japanese companies in UK to explain again and again for them to stay and trying to wipe away the fears which Japanese companies are having. But as you know, we cannot no longer use so-called banking passport system. So financial institutions already decided to go to move their registered headquarters from London to Amsterdam and Frankfurt. But others may follow. And, but I believe that city will remain as a market. And so many Japanese will stay in London in order to operate their daily business, I should say. So we are crossing fingers for the future development, whether they are able to come to conclusion within this year still remain. But prospect seems to be a very green for me to say. There might be a sudden guillotines came out, dropped, and end of the negotiations. 7 minutes are already gone. But anyway, I would like to follow this event not only from the economic viewpoint and also politically. It is much easier for Japan to negotiate bilaterally with UK. Japan-EU relations, although we have the agreements on EPA and also SPA, which we will be expecting to be signed by early summer this year, and then we are expecting to ratify it by before Brexit, hopefully. But no one knows. So